whatever time you're listening to us. We are just grateful that you are listening to us. And it seems to be working because we are international. We're famous across the world. So we just hit our first out of the country. We got Canada, Turkey, Bulgaria, and New Zealand. So thank you to those wonderful people out in those countries. My name's Parker. With me, as always, is Tanner. And yeah, such a cool experience to actually be listened to outside of the US. I remember when I saw that yesterday, Tanner, and I immediately shared it to you. And I have literally probably been bragging about it to anybody and everybody possible because that is just super cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So for our fellow people that are out there, if you are out there, send us a follow or comment on the video that you listen to or whatever. We'd love to give you a shout out the next episode, and then tell all your friends over in New Zealand, Bulgaria, Turkey, Canada,
anywhere.
Yeah, and bring on the new continents, the new countries. But super cool to be out there to that level. We also hit over this week, on top of just going international, we hit over 100 downloads. So we finally hit a huge milestone. Again, just incredible stuff to hear. And I did say that if we hit our 100 downloads, that we would do a giveaway. And so what I managed to do was to finagle a custom. This is the Bison Coolers. This is who I'm really trying to work with to get our next set of affiliations with. And in order to do that, we need help from you guys, from the community. So we need to boost our followers and we need to boost our interactions within the Instagram, on the YouTube, and things like that. But don't do it right now because rules and stipulations for this beautiful water bottle and giveaway. It's 40 ounces. In case anyone's curious about size, I mean, it's huge.
Super nice
in my head.
Yeah.
Super nice quality. They actually did a study where I think it was this tumbler. It was either this tumbler or one of their coolers, but they did a side-by-side study with, they bought a Yeti, they bought an Arctic, and they bought an Ozark or something like that. They put them all together and that one won in regards to temperature containment. Nice. So it's pretty cool. So I got to brag about them a little bit. We're not affiliated with them yet. I just really like them. I went to try and get a customized bottle to give away, and it was actually really scary because they were like, well, you got to buy 12. And I was like, I'm poor.
Yeah, 12.
And yeah, I was like, I don't know if I can pay for 12. And they're local. So they're actually in North Richland Hills. They're not too far away from us. And the guy saw that we were local, saw what we were doing, and said, tell you what, here's one, take your one, and we'll see where it goes from there. So the giveaway to boost, hopefully to be able to affiliate with them, give you all a massive discount on all of their products. We just got to boost our following. So we got to boost our impact. And the giveaway to say thank you for 100 downloads and to help boost all at the same time is going to be in those rules. And we're going to give those rules and stipulations at the end of the podcast. So unfortunately, I have to listen to everything. I'm so sorry. You have to be entertained for a little bit before you get to it, but very excited for those rules and those giveaways. And hopefully, we can keep doing more and more of these. This would be the goal, is to try and give something away at least once a month. I think would be a great start. Anyway, we'll talk more about that and the rules, how to do it, how to make it happen. Again, just a massive thank you to everyone out there. Couldn't be more grateful to see. Like I said, I've been bragging about this. I know Tanner's been bragging about this to get to the point where we've gotten already in literally 30 days has been absolutely insane. Yeah. So thank you all again.
Thank you guys.
So we've had a cool week, and it has continued to be a great week all the way across the board. We're in the starting of our second LGI course up in DFW, and I think we did one in Houston. And as we were doing this LGI course, I kind of got reminded of like not really a new concept, but reminded of a concept, right? And it had to kind of do with a very, very old saying that I've grown up with that I always try to get my instructors to follow through on. And it's funny because they never seem to be able to remember it. And the simple concept is slow is smooth as fast. And I will say this, and I kind of have like a speech about what it is, what it means, and things like that. But the amount of times that it gets confused, I've heard smooth is fast, fast is slow. I've heard fast is smooth, smooth is fast. And I've heard you'll see them like wanting to try to use the phrase,
Yeah.
and it always kind of gets spazzed
Well,
out.
and they have the right
Which
idea behind it, but
it is, yeah, it's really really close, but it is a specific way of slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and I figured I might as well kind of talk about where this actually came from, because I didn't actually come up with it. I actually learned this concept in the Marines. And so we, let's see, when was this? It's probably about two years into my Marine Corps, let's call it lifetime. So overall, I've done the basic training, I've done the infantry training, and I've done enough training to really kind of understand what I should be doing at this point. And a lot of us have at this point, right? Because there's a lot of people that were enlisting at that time or had or have a lot of experience prior to, because a lot of people enlisted before my time.
hmm
And we did what was called MOUT. It's MOUT, and it's basically just urban warfare, things like military operations of like urban terrain or something like that. But MOUT, and it's basically how to clear buildings, how to go down the hallways, how to make sure you clear out rooms, these types of deals, right? And we've done this training before, but we hadn't done it in like a year or so. So just kind of to paint the picture for you, Tanner, we were kind of in like the pre setup, right? Like what do they call the batters on the mound before they go to the plate?
Like
We were
batter's
kind of
box.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
batter box. Yeah. So we were in like the batter's box essentially. And we were basically had tape that made like a hallway. So there's no walls, there's no buildings that we're using. We're just using tape, and we basically outlined a quote unquote building that we would try and do. And so you have these Marines, including myself, that, people always say Marines are very well trained, and you don't really want to like mess with them, right? Like they're going to clear, they're going to do what they need to do, they're going to bust down the doors, things are going to get wild. And so, as I tell you the story, you're going to be really disappointed because what happened is we were basically in a T hallway, and so that what it means is, there's a hallway. If you took a right, there's a hallway. If there's a left, there's a hallway. You can't do anything straight.
hmm
So basically, you have what they call, I want to say it's like chasing the rabbit drill. So essentially, you have two people stacked on the right side, two people stacked on the left side, and the second person, the person in the back, is actually going to kind of take a wide turn. So they kind of take a huge left wide turn. At the same time, the person right at the corner peeks through. So now you have basically two rifles going down one hallway, two rifles going down the other hallway. And then you're supposed to kind of follow throughout the hallway, figure out the doors as you see them.
hmm
No joke. Literally, as we are doing this chasing of the rabbit, because we're kind of looking up, we're not really looking down, and we are trying to do this super, super quickly. Both sides literally fell on each other. So I
Wow.
was the rabbit, and I fell on my guy, and we like rolled through. And we're like trying to keep the rifles up. So we're just trying to like
Like
keep
trying to stay professional. Yeah.
some kind of stabilization going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely atrocious performance there. So my platoon sergeant, he's been in for a long time. I think he'd been in for like 10, 12 years. And after basically just kind of actually laughs at us, he doesn't even really ream us. It wasn't like, WTF, what are you doing? And things like that. He just kind of set us to the side. He's like, guys, why are you rushing through this? And we're like, well, you got to do it fast, fast pace, high speed. That's just what you do, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, where did this get you? And we were like, clearly got us nowhere. So then he brings us to the conversation. He goes, one thing I've learned when it comes to this mount training is from his instructor back when he was like a private PFC or something like that. was the slowest smooth, smoothest fast. And he basically just kind of told us, look, speed will always come with time. The more you do something, the easier it becomes, the more you're able to kind of push through and do it correctly. And it's far more important to do it correctly the first time than it is to really rush through and,
Right.
basically fall on your counterpart and,
Yeah.
ruin a huge potential, right? Because if you think, I mean, if we did this in actual combat, we're done for. I
Yeah.
mean, there's just no way around it, right?
Well, and your
And
mindset
so
was to go fast, but in the process, you, like, reset your progress.
yeah, we had to go backwards to basically go back to going forward again,
Yeah.
which is not a terrible way, but it's usually better, especially when your life is on the line, to probably do it the first time, not
Yeah.
falling and coming back. And so he made us do it super slow. I mean, he actually made us do slow motion, so we had to be like, no, like the whole thing. And we did. So I mean, we it crawled through doing these motions, and we got the angle, and he was like, great. And then we did it again, and we just did it a little bit faster. And we did it again, and it was too fast for his liking. So then we had to slow down. Like, he really made us go through this like slow motion concept to get to a point where we could actually do the right moves. And
Yeah.
then we felt really good about that move. Now we were going at like a really good, pretty good pace. And then they changed the building shape on us. So now it's just a right only. And so we go to do the right, but we, feeling good that we've done the split ways. It should be easy to just do one way. But now
Right.
you have double the people, right? Because instead of a 2-2 split, you have four. And so lo and behold, again, we literally start running into each other, trying to plow through, and one person stood up too fast, so that put them in front of the rifle. Obviously, you don't want to point your rifle at anything you don't want to shoot, and it became a mess again. So lo and behold, we go back, pulls us to the side, says, "Guys, why are we rushing?" Just
Yeah.
going through the whole base again, and so we then learned how to do it right and learn not how to point our rifles at people, learn how not to put people's rifles in front of ourselves
Right.
and things like that. And it was just a whole day of that. And then we get to the actual buildings, we get to learning how to clear each of these rooms. And with that pre work there and just kind of learning that slow is smooth and smooth is fast, I mean, we really did crush that course and we did really, really good in the end result of that course. And that to me is when that realization struck, is that moment of, okay,
Mm.
this makes sense now.
Right.
It's the more you kind of do this at a slow pace, really the more that your brain can handle. But it's also on the concept of the adrenaline, right? Because of course your heart's going to be racing more and things like that. So you really want to make sure that if you do it slow now, you're going to naturally be faster down the road.
Right.
So I always thought it was like a really cool concept that has personally been like my favorite. I even said like I want to try and get like a shirt made with it on the back because I think it's truly saved a lot of things. And it's really what a lot of people do, not just for military, but like life saving and things like that. One of the big things that I'm sure that maybe you've seen in your lifeguard training, right? The first time someone does a multi rescue scenario, I mean, how well does that really look?
Yeah, it's always like, I think it's exactly what you're saying. I mean, like, everybody thinks, because on the outside looking in, it's like everything individually is easy, but
Yeah.
it's like when you throw it all together, it gets complicated. But then you still, in your mind, are thinking, okay, everything's easy, so I can just fly through this. But that's when
Yeah.
you make, a million mistakes and whatnot. But when you say, this saying, like, it's like, to me, what really pops into my head is like, in order for you to like really learn something or like really master something, it's like you got to
Mhm.
get like the fundamentals of it down. And the only way you get the
Yes.
fundamentals of it down are like walking through it and like and then jogging through it, before you actually get to the point where you can sprint through it. Cause it's like when you're going to learn, when you learn a sport, you know, when I learned playing basketball, like I was smaller than everybody, so like naturally I had to like get the fundamentals down and make sure I had those, you know, because if I tried to go a million miles an hour, I would just get knocked, you know, knocked on my butt, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very similar concept to it. So yeah, I totally
I
agree with you.
love that you mentioned the fundamentals concept, right? So it's not even about sprinting really to the finish line or to the end, but really just taking the fundamentals and
Yeah.
going slow with them. And so I actually, I actually saw this. So I'm starting to teach jujitsu classes now. I taught my second one this morning, early bird special, 6 a.m. But it's it was funny on two concepts. On my part, because I haven't obviously mastered jiu-jitsu, I'm still a blue belt, but
Hmm.
it was funny because I had to teach something that I wasn't really masterful of. There's some things that I feel like I pretty much have mastered this one move or these two moves fairly well, but this one I was teaching, kind of, I feel 70% strong in it. And what saved me really with the instruction, I think, was the smooth as fast concept, because I could have just said, hey, we're going to just do this, just do that, bada bing, bada boom. But I also know when you're instructing something, you have to explain everything that you're doing. It's not just, okay, pull this leg and now you're magically here, right?
Yeah.
You have to explain that the leg pull coincides with your foot landing here, which then coincides with my hand placement switching and then grabbing this with my other hand. And you have to like show all this movement, right? Because you have to show literally everything. And, you know, I think what helps, especially on the instructor portion of things, when you're trying to teach something in a slow, well mannered thing, is to really make those things obvious. The snapping. I always love when
Right.
you see that you're like over here, or they're like, you'll see this hand, raise it up any hand, you raise it up high, like you really emphasize the things that you wouldn't normally emphasize so that people can truly process what you're taking in, right? But then you have the other side where the people are actually doing it. And you'll see, I saw a little bit of everything, which was really cool, right? I saw someone who's kind of done my move before plenty of times. And so they just drilled it. But they also understood that it's drill time, right? We're on the batter, we're in the batter's box, right? And so we're not going 1,000%. We're just trying to really make sure we get those muscles locked in.
Yeah.
So he was still doing it fairly smoothly, making sure he was doing it correctly, and just really going through the motions nice and easy. And then you had someone where the move was very new to them, right? Now, they weren't really necessarily new to jiu-jitsu. They're kind of new, but the move for sure was new to them. And so you saw like the stumbles and things like that, and, trying to understand key things. And that's what allowed me to at least be able to see like, hey, this is right here. This is when you're like moving your foot, right?
Right.
This right here, this is when it allows the instructor to kind of note, okay, here's the next part that you need to do. Now do
Yeah.
this nice and controlled, right?
We were taking it
And
like
then we
frame
move
by
on to there.
frame. Yeah.
Exactly. And when
Yeah.
you're able to drill in this kind of slow manner, then I, as an instructor, am able to help you in that frame by frame. I'm able to give you the missing frames essentially.
Hmm.
And then there's like a guy who's like day four, super nice dude. And but he was literally going so fast that as I went to give my first corrective action, he was done. I was like, oh Lord. So, and I literally had to like grab him and I was like, stay.
Yeah.
And then and he was like, okay. And I was like, sit, because it basically, I know the move is going to be really hard to explain, but they're basically sitting on the person's foot. Right. And so I was like, sit here, stay here. I was like, this is casual. And that's what clicked, because I said slowly at first and that didn't work. So then I was like, casual. We're casual here. We're not going
Yeah.
crazy. And then that clicked with him. And then we are able to walk him through the next part of the move. And he just tried to rush. I was like, wait. And I had to, stop him, slow him down again. I was
Little
like,
did you guys
here's the
know this is
move.
this is me. This was me.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying for something else. Because I know like that one guy showed you how to do a little jujitsu. Um, but then we finally got him through the move, and crazy enough, once he did it slowly, and I was like, all right, let's go that same pace again. He did it again, and it was beautiful. Like I was like, yes, this is it. Like I'm so
Yeah,
like it was exciting at
yeah,
that point. And I was like, all right, third time's a charm. Let's make sure we got it. He did do it a little bit faster, but because he had done it slow the first few times, it was way smoother throughout.
right.
And that is to me is it's not the only way to learn. It's not the only way to do something, but I think it's a fairly good concept to that, especially when learning the fundamentals. And the fundamentals, I mean, we both know are so key, so important.
Hmm.
Do them slowly. And because I mean, what are like, because again, I understand basketball, but like what are those like fundamentals that you need to know for basketball?
I mean, something as simple as like making like if so I'm right-handed, right? And like a big problem with me growing up, especially when I was like a kid, first playing basketball, was shooting a left-handed layup with my left hand. Like,
Oh,
do
yes.
you think that you could go to a basketball court right now? You're right-handed, right?
I am right-handed, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think that you could go to a basketball court right now and make 10 straight left-handed layups on the left side
No.
using the
I
backboard?
maybe 2 for 10. Yes. Because
Right?
I
And it's
remember,
like,
so I did play rec league, and the worst drill they ever did was that drill and the left-handed the sprint dribbling
yeah. And that's
with the left hand.
and that's so like it's kind of like what you're saying with this jujitsu story. It's like that
Mm,
move or like using your offhand is so simple, but it's like everybody when they start playing basketball is all about their dominant hand because
yep.
that's what you're naturally best at. And is it fun to suck at something? No, it's not. So for me is like and everybody else who grew up playing basketball, I mean like it's funny. I tell my friends, I'm like, man, when I go to the gym or like, yeah, I go to like LA Fitness or whatever, and I'm going to play basketball,
Mm,
I can pretty much tell like within somebody's like first minute of touching a basketball if they've actually played and like practiced in their life because it's like little things like that.
yeah.
And it's like those like you can only get those skills and fundamentals by like practicing it slowly and like sucking at it and getting through that, to like finally build on that. And then obviously there's people in the NBA who are like ambidextrous. I mean, like they can like you see them shooting
Yeah, it
with their
doesn't
off
even
hand.
matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like money every time. So yeah, so it's very much like that. I'm trying to think of like other examples of it in particularly basketball, but I mean like pretty much with any sport. I mean like football, it's like if you're a receiver, you're not right off the bat practicing goal line fades, jumping over somebody, like mossing them,
Yeah.
right?
The brushing of the feet on the before you get out of bounds.
Yeah, like the toe taps. You're not practicing toe taps like first
Yeah.
practice. You're practicing catching the football.
Yep.
Like looking at the ball, watching it, keeping your eye on it, going out with your hands and catching it with your hands as opposed to your body. So little things like that. I mean, it's like everybody who mastered something started off slow. Started
Yep.
off bad and worked on the fundamentals and whatnot.
And I think you make a good point with those fundamentals, right? You're talking about how basically some, basketball players, for instance, they're basically ambidextrous. They can do left and they can do right. And I think we kind of, I wouldn't say dig ourselves in a hole, but I think we have this false perception that they're just there. It's all just natural gift to them and or blessing or something
Right.
like that. But they really did the same thing. I mean, they struggled dribbling the ball with their non-dominant hand. They struggled at one point doing layups. It's just they
Right.
worked way harder to make it to where they could do that. I mean, anyone can do anything. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of can you apply and I like the fundamentals concept and taking that a lot more seriously and a lot slower than people do because what kind of no one you were right, no one wants to be bad, no one
Yeah.
wants to or and especially in front of people, right? But the only way that you're really going to get better at what you're bad at is by doing it again. Like you have to just constantly fail
Right.
before you kind of get good. And then you have to say, okay, instead of being accepting of finally I can at least dribble or I can make 5 out of 10 of my layups with my
Left hand
non-dominant
layups.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I got to go for 8 out of 10, right? Or 10 out of
Yeah.
10. Or, you got to keep boosting the goal there and not let go of the fundamentals because and you see this all the time.
Yeah.
Casey, he gets so mad when a wide receiver just doesn't catch the ball, right? And I'm not
It's
talking
like,
about
that's your
like the
job.
hard to
Yeah.
reach, but like yeah, like but like literally hit their hands and their elbows are way out here, so the ball just like falls out of the arms.
Yeah.
Because the fundamental is if you're going to catch a ball in the numbers, is to tuck the elbows in, right? Fundamentals of catching a ball that's out, like my hands still need to be together, but how many times do you see hands way out here?
Yeah.
Or eye on the ball, right? How many times do you see them like, okay, the ball's here, but now I'm going to look where I'm going and my hands have moved.
And it
And
just
so the
drops.
ball
Yeah.
just goes through, right?
Or they like hear
And
footsteps, they like catch the ball,
yeah,
they're anticipating a hit. And most of the time they do
exactly.
get hit over the middle of the field, and it's like, man, I wouldn't have caught that either. But that I
Or
don't
in
get paid.
tackling,
I don't get paid $13 million a year to play football.
that's what I'm saying. And tackling, like that's what annoys me the most because all you have to do is wrap. Like if you just grab a leg and just hold on for dear life, you're you're way better at getting a tackle than going for the shoulder charge and
I
then
mean,
they just
yes,
go oop.
but
Like I
that's easier
love the
said than
shoulder
done.
charge tackle, but I mean it's you just gotta wrap, man. Like
Yeah,
there don't like get or give half a shoulder for bang
half
and
arm.
then
Yeah,
maybe a wrap.
yeah,
Let's get a hybrid going
like that.
on
Yeah,
here. But that stuff is, that's what frustrates people is like these people making millions of dollars and it's like they've, forgot about the fundamentals for a second. It's not
yes,
that they really forgot about the fundamentals. It's just you can see that when the fundamentals aren't applied, how quickly it can deteriorate, even
right,
for the elite people. And so while you have, let's say, mastered fundamentals, let's say you are making 10 out of 10 left handed or non-dominant hand layups, you can sprint down the basketball court left-handed or right-handed. If you don't continue to practice those basic concepts, they're always going to deteriorate because you're not really ambidextrous. You're not
right,
always as you go to the finessing things, right? The toe touches or the one-handed catches. Well, the one-handed catch already takes away the fundamental of how to catch with two hands. You
right.
have to catch with one now. And so now that fundamental is going to deteriorate because you are working on a higher and more advanced skill. So you really have to go back and forth on
Yeah,
fundamentals, but also willing to go up and beyond, but then not
and
lose
yeah,
the fundamentals.
yeah. Well, I
And this
think
is where
with
I think it goes.
yeah, I think with like professional athletes, it's like there is like because you had touched on it a little bit earlier, like it's not like they're given like I think that a lot of people think like, oh, you're lucky to be in the NBA or you're lucky to be in the
Yeah.
NFL. And it's like, no, that person, regardless of what, you know, ability they were given at birth or like, genes that they had, like they worked their ass off to get where they're at. Like
Yeah.
that's no question. You don't get to a professional sport without, working your tail off, regardless of how talented you are. I mean, like there do you know Ben Simmons? Do you know who Ben Simmons is?
I feel like I've heard the name. If I saw the face, probably
Yeah.
100% because I'm
You
super good with faces.
you probably would. There he is a basketball player in the NBA, but he was like the number one recruit coming out of his high school class. Number one. He was supposed to be this like generational talent. He was like 6'10 point guard. He's supposed to be like the next Magic Johnson, all this stuff. And
Dang.
he plays 1 year in college, and then sure enough, he gets drafted like first overall. But in the last few years, he's like he can't shoot in NBA games, right? Like that's like his thing. He cannot shoot. People will not guard him. Like they don't guard him. They literally are like, if you beat us, like
Wow.
we'll give you 200 open threes a game, and like if you beat us, you beat us.
Hilarious.
But go and type in Ben Simmons like pickup game highlights, and you would think that he's the best shooter in the league. Like if you watch highlights of him going to play at LA Fitness,
Yeah.
right? It's like it's completely different, and it's like it shows you like even though he's in the NBA and can't make like people don't not the fact that he can't make a three, it's the fact that people don't respect him at all. Like they don't respect his jump shot at all in the NBA.
That's crazy.
But then you take him and go put him against like just average goers to LA Fitness, and it's like night and day. And it's because he
Mhm.
did practice shooting growing up,
Yeah.
just like he practiced right hand layups because he's left handed, just like he
Mhm.
practiced like little hook shots and all these other things, like so he did practice that. It's just like, and I don't know. I think it's like a confidence thing in his head. I think that he's like he might be a good example of going too fast. You know,
Mhm.
like
Probably.
not slowing down.
Because we said
Um,
1 year of college before he got drafted.
yeah, and he
Mm.
went to LSU, which is the same college Shaq went to,
Okay.
and he like they didn't even make the turn. Like I think he only played like 15 games or like 20 games. Like they honestly sucked, but he was just such a talent. Like
Yeah.
he was such a like a prospect and like a yeah, like just like such a project.
Mhm.
So any team was gonna take a shot on him if he declared.
That's fair. And I think, yeah, I mean, I think this is the probably a pretty good real life example, right? It's did well, obviously worked really hard and focused on what he needed to do. But yeah, maybe did get pushed into the NBA maybe a year or two too early because I mean, that's a huge change. And they always say the
Dude,
profession
19,
college to pro. Yeah. I
19
mean,
years
that's
old.
insane.
Yeah,
That's super insane to me. And because you
we have
think it's
people who
like in
work for us
college.
that are 19.
Yeah,
Could you imagine some of the 19-year-olds that that work in this company in the NBA or like the
dude.
as what we love you guys, like of course.
That is crazy. Yeah, where's our courtside tickets, guys?
Yeah, what the heck?
That's all I care about. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is crazy to me. I mean, 19 years old, which is insane. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really at any age, whether it's also 19 years old or whether it's 70, like really what that accomplishment is.
Mhm.
Because in college, even if you're going against, the top 10, right? The top 10 versus the top 10, I mean, that's just the school. But now you
Yeah.
go to professional league, that's number one of that school, for instance, I guess that's the easiest way to say
Right.
that for one player. And there's what, like 10? How many people are in basketball? I know there's like two lines or three
Like on a
lines.
team,
Yeah.
like on a roster, it's probably like 12.
12.
But
Yeah.
but in the playoffs, like 8 play.
Right. So, I mean, yeah. So the eight best of the best per school, per year, per whatever. I mean, that's who you're going against. And that's just
Yeah.
such a degree change. I mean, it's basically saying, I would say if you're going to want to do this on a percentage base, you go to high school, you got your 60-70%. You go to college, you got your top like 30%. But when you go to the NBA and how like few people are in the NBA
Yeah.
playing, I mean, that's less than 10%, maybe 5%
Oh my
of
gosh, it's
those 100%.
yeah, it's even less. I mean, it's like the higher that you go, like from AAU to high school varsity, that's a low percentage. And then you go from high school varsity to D1, that's like less than a
Oh,
percent
yeah. I'm
of
not even
high
thinking
school
about,
varsity.
yeah, D1, D2, and
Yeah.
D3. Yeah.
And
You
then
make a
and
huge
then
point.
even D1, it's like, dude, D1, it's probably like 2% of the probably not even, like probably like 1% of the athletes in Division 1 actually make their like respective, professional leagues. Cuz it's like so it's just like it's a funneling all the way through. It's just like there are levels to this.
Yeah. Massive levels.
Yeah.
And man, yeah, no, that even honestly paints the picture like even better because I wasn't even thinking about there's D3, D2, D1, and then
Yep.
even going from there. And they say,
JUCO.
oh, there is like what is that percentage of like it's like something insane, like 90 something percent of D1 athletes go on to do their actual career,
Yeah.
something like that, and it just really does paint the picture to how elite these people really are. And
Yeah.
sure, there's like some politics involved. There is, I'm not going to say there's not natural ability. There's definitely natural ability out there. LeBron James is the most natural I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that he moves like a point guard and is like what 6'8" or something ridiculous like that.
Most
It's
people
ins-
in professional sports are built differently, but
yeah,
there are a lot of people who are also built differently that didn't make their leagues because they didn't work for it.
yeah,
If that makes sense.
exactly.
Like
Well, yeah, because
the
they take it. How many times have you seen the college freshman that has shown great promise, gets their full ride to whatever school they're playing for, and then have dropped out their first year because
yeah,
they took it all for granted?
yeah. No, for
I mean,
sure.
it happens a lot. I think I
Yeah,
knew a guy that had I mean, I have no idea what their name was, but yeah, I think they literally got kicked out of school after their first year,
yeah. I mean,
and
and I
they
knew
were made
like
for great things.
I just think it's like I wanted to say that because it's like I hate like the idea that like if like somebody like me worked harder than LeBron James, then I would have been in his shoes because that's like
Mm.
not the case, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I would like there are no like possibilities in this life where I could have made the NBA. I don't think,
I don't
but
know, man. I feel like you could.
trying like if I would have actually like done like day by day, just working on it every single day, would my
Yeah,
chances have gotten lower? No. You know, like not saying it would have been a perfect, 100% that I would have been in there, obviously,
right.
but yeah.
I genuinely think. I guess I haven't seen you play, but which is not fair. But I mean, I always say that I think it could happen, right? I really think if you set yourself up right, it could happen. Now, I agree with you and what you were saying that it does have to be pretty day by day early on, right?
Right.
You have to have been playing for a while. It's not going to be what's that one movie where I think it was they took a random bunch of random people to play for the Eagles and then
Oh,
like you went through this
is it Invincible? I think that's what or
maybe
with
I
Mark
think
Wahlberg?
it's oh, I don't even remember who the actor was. I saw this movie like a long time ago, but they took just all the Eagles fans, they went them through a recruiting thing, and
Yes.
then they picked like the best person of that to play, and then he goes to play and he
I think he was the
doesn't do
kicker,
well his
right?
first game.
Was he the
I think and he
kicker?
was like a he was I think he was on the line because there's one scene where it's like this center and it's kind of like the guy that he thought was like his basically just arch nemesis. He hated the guy. Like the fact that he was even playing on this team, some random non-professional human playing on this
Yeah.
team. But there's like this one scene, he starts screaming at them and he's like, look at my knuckles. And he's like, if you see white, they're going forward. If you don't see white, they're going back. And he's like, look at him. And he's like forcing him to look at him. And it's such a crazy, like intense scene. And
I
then
think
of
that's
course,
Invincible with
I think it is.
Mark
I'm pretty sure it is. But
Mock.
it's like that. Like I doubt that's going to happen to the average guy, right? Even the ones that are really, really good. But I feel like they have a lot more step by step programs now, like with these, uh, what would you call like UFL, those leagues. And I think
Yeah.
basketball has one. Like
Like
they
AAU
have those
leagues,
leagues
yeah.
now, yeah, that have the ability to maybe start working your way up, and maybe you just start there. Like everyone starts entry level.
Mhm.
Um, Paul Walker for a new, Fast and Furious dude, his like first movie that he ever made was him turning into a giant T Rex.
What movie?
It was literally like my boyfriend turned into a dinosaur, I think is what it's called. And so you could look it up. And that was the first movie that Paul Walker ever did. And then
Interesting.
years later comes into this like multi-million dollar
I wanna look this up.
franchise. Dude, it's a real. Yeah, it's crazy.
I wanna look up the Rotten
And
Tomatoes score.
I'm pretty sure it's like teens and percentage wise. And like the CGI that they did for it is pretty epic for when he does turn into like a dinosaur.
Tammy and the T-Rex, is that it?
That might be it. Yeah, let's take a little pause and look this up. I just remember so if you look on the
Oh my
like
gosh, yeah, it is.
especially when he
Dude,
especially when he
Denise
turns into a
Richards is in this
T-Rex.
movie too, wow.
it's like a flash overlay. So it's like
I mean, look at
transparent
that, guys.
dinosaur. Yes, there it is. There's Paul Walker in the top right. So you want to go look at a fun movie, go watch that. It's super good special effects. Puts Jurassic Park to shame.
Hey, on IMDb, it has 6 stars out of 10.
Dang.
That's not
That's
bad.
not as bad as I thought I would
That's
be.
not bad.
Wow.
That's funny.
But I mean, look, Paul Walker, he did that. That was his first movie. How is anyone really going to be like, if you saw that movie and only that movie, no one's going to think he's going to make it.
He's gonna be a star.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he became a massive star. And honestly, even the original Fast and Furious, while is one of my favorites, to me, the first two were some of my favorites, but they really weren't great. Like when you really think about it,
They're cheesy.
not compared to, they were, pretty straightforward, pretty cheesy, basic plot line, but I love them. And that's just me. But then they just kept going and it kept going and going and going. And now, became a multi-million-dollar franchise, had huge names in it by the end. So like it worked out well. And
when
so
did The Rock
this is
come along?
It was 5. I want to say it was 5.
Because this is gonna just shock you. This is probably gonna change your opinion on me completely. I have never seen a Fast and Furious movie.
Really? I highly recommend it. I'm telling you, like I love the first one's great. Like it sets up everything. And
I've
then
seen
the
all the
second one
memes.
really doesn't have much to do with it. It is like a sequel. Like it's a sequel. But Tyrese, whatever his name is so funny in that movie. He's so good in that movie. Like I just love his character. And then 3 is technically Tokyo Drift, which consists of none of the characters. It's just an
It's
entirely
all
different,
Okay.
totally different dude. But that one's cool. It's fun. And then 4 is when I think is like a prequel, or like to the first one or something. I don't know. It starts getting the timeline starts getting really crazy.
Yeah.
But you start seeing like all these people rolling together and you start getting the crews and how it works. And
So
I
you've
think
seen,
at some
all of
point
them.
I've seen all of them until after Paul Walker died, which was super sad, and the only reason why is because he actually died making, it was either 6 or 7, but all of his scenes were good, right? And then it was just like the very last. I'm gonna spoil whatever movie this is for y'all, and y'all can get over it because y'all should see
How
this.
dare you? I mean, this movie's been out
but
for like
like you've done your time.
Yeah.
But at the very end, Paul Walker has a family. I think he has like a kid or two. Maybe I think it may even be his like a second child, with his wife. Right? And they're all on the beach and they're just watching like Paul, and his wife and kids, like they're just playing with them, right? And it just kind of sets this up, and they did such a good job, man. Like they really set the tone. Like this was like kind of the end. Like Paul's gonna get out of the business essentially, right? And so Dom, which is like, in the first movie, Dom Toretto is like the bad guy, but then Paul
Family
Walker,
Guy.
they create a brother. Yeah, the Family Guy, they create a brotherhood, and Dom drives away. And in that scene, the scene that they made up, Paul Walker's brother looks very similar to him. And so then they kind of just CGI'd his face a little bit to look like Paul Walker. And he like stares over him and he's in a white Supra. And that's really pivotal because the first movie, the big car was the Supra. So he's in a white Supra and he's like, you think you could like leave me? And blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I'm always here and I'm always with you. And then they drive and Dom, veers left. And then Paul Walker, he veers right, going up to heaven essentially. Like that was his like,
interesting. Yeah.
And they play the song by Wiz Khalifa.
See you again. Yeah.
Yeah. See you again. And dude, if I've never cried in a movie. If I would have, it would have been that movie. And I've seen.
Don't lie, dude. I know you cried. Don't lie.
But I've never cried, and I get really close. But to me, it has to be a teardrop, right? I need one teardrop, and I was really close on that one. And like every time I listen to that song, I'm just like, my boy Paul,
You're like, let me turn this real quick. No reason. Yeah, let me turn this off.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, so after that, I really felt like it should have just ended, because you just can't really recreate that. And they did,
Money
obviously they
talks.
made like three more, dude. And I was like,
Yeah,
eh. And they
money
got a
talks,
little
dude.
extreme anyway. It really wasn't for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I haven't watched anything past, I want to say seven.
Okay.
And I think my favorite one is whenever um, Paul Walker is the like FBI, or I think his character's name is Brian. I keep saying Paul, but I think his name is Brian, and he's been trying to get an FBI. And my favorite one is when he's actually in the FBI because he's
Okay.
like a badass in that one. So
I gotta
that's number
watch that one.
five,
I want to watch whichever
dude.
one you said is like your favorite to introduce me to the franchise. Because
Oh,
like
you
obviously,
can't. You have to watch the ones prior to because it's such
oh,
sequeled. Like there's so much like you need to know. Yeah, that's the thing is, and you don't really need to watch three. Three is kind of watch it for whatever
like
it is. You want
throwaway.
to see like,
Yeah.
Tokyo. Um, it's got a lot of like culture within that, the drifting culture and how it's completely different. It's fine.
Right.
Main actor is not the best. He's actually, if you ever watched, what is it? I want to say NCIS uh, New Orleans.
Oh
It's
gosh.
it's one of those characters. I can't describe him, but doesn't really matter. But it's the same guy. So hopefully I blew some minds there. Um,
I don't know if any of our like listeners are gonna they watch NCIS New Orleans. It's very I feel like that's very
it's a
random and unique.
popular show, but it is more like my generation. Yeah, yeah. It's like
I
you got
was
to be
gonna
kind of
ask you,
30 and older.
do you and your wife watch like TV? Like do y'all watch like
Yeah.
cable?
No, we stream only. So we have all the apps. Like we have like literally everything in some shape or form, whether it's technically ours or not. Neither confirm nor deny.
You're saying yeah, you got like
But
other accounts.
but
Yeah.
we have all the apps. And I think we're watching New Girl. We're rewatching New
Good
Girl for like
show,
the
dude.
second or third time.
Good show.
I'm watching an old like 1990s show called Monk.
Monk. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Monk. He's basically a Sherlock Holmes detective that has like every phobia known to man. But
Okay.
he's really, really good. But yeah, he's like OCD. Like he's always got to touch, the light. Like literally this last episode, it was a heat lamp, but he has to touch lamps and he like pokes it. And she's like trying to stop him from like touching his lamp. And he like burns himself like, but it was the wrong finger. So he had to like touch it again.
The wrong
So
finger. Yeah, he's like
yeah,
that
so
didn't
it's
satisfy.
it's actually really funny. I mean, it's super. I mean, this was back before HD TV was out, so I mean, it's not the most appealing, but
Yeah.
the actors are great, and it's a really funny show. And then you get to be like I said, Sherlock type vibes. How did they do it in a weird way? And then
I
that's pretty
just
much all I'm watching right now.
I always see the like and I hope I'm not offending anybody when I say this, but like I always see the like Chicago Fire and like
Oh yeah,
Chicago
uh,
PD. Man, and I'm like every time I see those commercials, I'm like who is the
yeah.
demographic here? Like who watches
Well,
this?
it's a soap opera group. Like I know it's not a soap opera, but it's as close to a soap opera I think as you can get
Yeah, I guess.
to like I feel like they're just modern day soap operas, which is not me for sure. I need plot, I
I
need
would be like
story.
I laugh, you know? Like if it's
Yeah.
like cheesy, I'm just like, man, I can't take this seriously.
I couldn't watch. I just yeah, those aren't for me because it's like to me it would be cool maybe, and I've never seen them, so I guess I can't really like hate on it, but to me it's like I don't even think they like do it right. That's like stuff like that. How many times have we seen them do CPR in a movie or TV show and it's
Right,
terribly wrong? There was
right.
literally in Monk, we're going back to Monk, but the guy checked the guy's pulse like here,
Like
like
almost back of his
almost
neck.
on the back of their neck. And he's like,
That's
he's dead.
funny.
And I was like, well, yeah, he's dead. You can't feel it. Like, it's right here, guy. Like,
Yeah, that's funny. You know who did
like stuff
CPR
like that.
well or portrayed
Uh,
CPR well?
mm,
The Office.
I
Remember
did.
cuz
Even the training.
yeah, cuz they mentioned the song by the Bee Gees, the Staying Alive.
Yep.
Yeah, and
First
that's
I
like a
was
good.
what does Michael sing? It's like a
Oh, he sings
that
the
was
whole
my favorite.
song. He's like, "First I
Yep.
was afraid."
I was
Yeah,
petrified. He's like,
yeah, doing one, waiting, one, and she's like, "No, no, you got to do the chorus." Yeah, what a good show,
what's
man.
what's so funny about that scene is, I mean, other than Dwight cutting off the
Cutting the
mask and
face
putting
off.
his face on, like it really is honestly like that sometimes, you know. And I love, you know, she did so good. I wish I knew how to kind of set up the scene, but she did such a good job. Just
He
like,
was so patient.
we're okay, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna survive, you know. And like I could just feel the anxiety of how am I going to teach these people?
Yeah.
Because you
Do you
only
think?
have like 4 hours to teach them everything,
Yeah,
you know. It's time, like, and you only get paid, usually only get paid
for
for the
class.
class.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know, you just got to get it done. And it's
Do you
just
think?
so funny, that
Do you
whole
think if you
process.
were leading a training and you're like, busy messing with stuff, and then you turn around and you look at the mannequin, the face is gone, and you see one of the guards has it on their face, do you think they'd still? You think they'd still pass? Would they still get employed by us? Probably not,
I
right?
probably not. I know, because I always hit it pretty hard. I'm just like thinking about this now, like if this actually, because I know my initial reaction, which is wrong, and you know, can't really go there, but you know, it's just,
Yeah.
you gotta breathe, right? You know, that's probably like a convulsion that I need to like chill out before I speak, right? But you know, I had like I've had like similar. I can't even say similar stories, but just stories where like they did something they weren't doing. Like I had this one guy, and it happens like every year. Like it's gotten to the point where I have to kind of tell people beforehand not to do this. But the guy, you know, primary assessment, right? So they size up, they glove up, and then they, you know, tap on the shoulder, see if they wake up, right? Check for
Yeah.
consciousness.
Right.
And he goes, the size up, gloves up, fine. And it just goes, what? What? Across the mannequin's face. And I am like looking down at him. And thank God I at least like just took a breath. But I literally was just like, if you do that again, you're out of this class. And that's like all I could say.
And just
And
based off shock value and seeing it the first time, my initial reaction would be to laugh,
yeah, like
but you can't, you know.
yeah, because it's like it was like parenting. You can't let the child, when
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though
yeah,
it's really funny, the child's like meow, and the parent's like, listen to me, and like meow. You know, it's just like,
yeah.
I'm really bad about that, man. When the kid is like the parent's trying to get the child to do something, and that child is doing something completely opposite, I have to run away because I
Yeah.
am not able to contain myself. Because part
Very
of me is like,
funny.
yeah, get him, you know, power.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I usually I just get pretty firm, like, yo, like we're not dealing with this, right? You know that, because it is a person, right? I know it's just a torso and a head, but
Right.
theoretically it's a person. We're not going to do that. So I
It's
just try to bring it back to
stimulating. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I do remember my first reaction, and it was really was just shock that we're here, you know, but happens. And I've seen probably worse than that at least once or twice on
Yeah.
top of that. So
Man,
training people's fine, man. It's you never know what you're gonna get. It's gonna be really great at times. It's gonna be hard at other times. I mean, it really is, but it's a lot of fun. And never really do you have a class that's the exact same.
yeah.
That's what I love about it. Because me, I get bored. There's a reason why I don't do a 9 to 5 job. Can't do it. I will be bored after 3 days, or far ahead, because I'm so bored. Like I'll just work to work. So I like doing this, you know, training and this type of concept, because it just allows me to constantly be doing something different, constantly be doing something new, even if it is the same thing, right? And I have probably trained thousands of people at some point in my life, you know, hundreds of instructors, and it just never really gets old. It's good stuff. Well, that was I hate it all. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
tangent, but I think it was in
Yeah.
line, right?
This is a big tangent episode.
Yeah, I mean, it like I said, that I kind of knew that the concept in itself is pretty straightforward, and it's just really just do this for anything and everything that you're doing, and see where that takes. And this can go for taking the exam. Take it slow for once, right? Read all the questions. What is it really going to hurt you? I took Algebra 2, I got literally a perfect 100 in a class. 100 on all the homework, 100 all the quizzes, 100 all the exams. But the reason why I got that 100, even on the final exam, and it was not a hard exam, it was like 50 or 60 questions. You had 3 hours to take it. And the rule of thumb is every time took the exam, you can pull out your phones, check, whatever, do whatever, as long as you weren't loud or disruptive to everyone else taking exams in other classrooms, you were good. So it was kind of a really cool time because it's like the one time you can have your phone out and like watch a movie or whatever. But you couldn't do that until everyone was done. And for this like 50 or 60 question exam, like I took the whole 3 hours and everyone hated me. They
Everyone's
looked at
just
me
like looking at
and I
you.
turned it in. And right as I got up and set my pencil down and stood up, you just heard like this because there's like literally 5 minutes left in class. But I got 100 and no one else did. I was the only one to get 100.
Boom.
So
Yeah, heck yeah.
most outstanding student in algebra 2. It's my greatest accomplishment in high school. No big deal.
That's
But
when you peak.
anyway, yeah, lo and behold, that it goes for everything. I do it a lot when it comes to multi-rescuer saves, drilling, or even when we're having actual 911 emergencies out there. I tell my people the fastest we are moving is at a power walk pace, right? Because, and this will be a good summary to this concept. It's not that I don't want to rush to them and like help them as quickly as possible. I do. Like I want to get to them as fast as humanly possible. But
Right.
when I run, first off on the deck, there's a safety concern. Like if I run, I'm going to slip and fall. And I got so many good stories of people doing that. But when I can walk with intention is what I call it. When I walk with intention, I can keep my heart rate down and it allows me more time to actually assess what's going on in the situation, right? Paramedics do this. You will beg them to run and they will never run
Yeah.
because they're assessing the situation. They are taking the information that they had to what's actually going on in front of them and putting those pieces together. What's working, what's not working, and so on. And then you had kind of mentioned this, it's all just a bunch of different puzzle pieces. And a lot of people, the reason why someone may kind of freak out or not really react right away or do anything right away is because there's so much needs to be done. AD's got to be put on. It's got to be turned on. Oxygen has to be, on. It has to be connected to a BVM. It has to be set to a certain flow rate. I gotta be at the head. I gotta be at the side. I got another person on the side. I can need towels. Like there's so much that has to happen.
Right.
And that's overwhelming. But when you go out of that and you just say, okay, I need to approach this slowly, well, then I can say, well, what's missing? Well, the AED's not on. Okay. I'm going to just take the AED and I'm going to open it up and I'm going to turn it on. And then I'm going to look at these beautiful pictures and I'll match my pictures to them. Boom. Those are on. AED's plugged in. Cool. Now I just got to repeat it. So my whole job is done. I've done the AED. And now I can look at other people and say, all right, where are they at?
Oh, yeah.
Oxygen's getting put on. Yeah. Or, hey, oxygen's on the side. It's like, hey, oxygen, who's doing oxygen? Or I can assign it. Hey, Jack, you're doing oxygen. Set it up right there. Right. I can actually start helping now versus looking at the whole picture. So really this concept is about focusing on what is the next right thing that you can do. And then just do that to the maximum ability that you can do it. And you will see a much more systematic way of doing this. And it will cut your time in doing everything in half, especially for skill related things. Exam wise, it's going to obviously expand your time, right? I took the whole 3 hours, whatever. But for skills, whether it's a jiu-jitsu skill, even if it's basketball, football, whether it's doing CPR, like if you just do things with an intentional, like a first time intention, nice and smooth, you will be faster. And I've seen this cut people's times down when they're doing spinal backboarding from 2 minutes to a minute and a half. Some people even less time than that. All be, brand new guards. 2 minutes is a great time for a brand new guard, right? And like we try to cut that down even in under a minute if we can, right? We try to do it as fast as humanly possible. And we do races to make that. I think like the fastest time in barefoot history is 33 seconds.
Wow.
From out of water. So doing activating AP, slide and entry. The victim has to be about shallow water. Okay. So victim has to be about 15 feet away from the wall. facing away so that you have to do the turn without
Wow.
turning their body, and then backboard pull them out.
Dude, 33
And
seconds is insane.
right, and you still get DQ. Like if you turn the body too fast and it like
Yeah.
crescent moons, you're disqualified.
Yep.
If you drop the backboard, you're disqualified. If you do things wrong, you get seconds added back. So they did all of that perfectly in 33 seconds as well.
Yeah.
I think for
Perfect
deep
speed.
water
Yeah.
with the same format, I think the fastest time like a minute 3. So still really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
I think we did submerged as well. So it's submerged, deep water spinal tube stuff, and then out in a minute 3, which is pretty cool. So we got some good times, right? The ocean race is a great example. When you do that one nice and slow, you're bound to get 15 seconds because it's not a Red Cross thing. It's just one of those things that we challenge people to do. And you add the regulator, tighten it, turn it on, turn the flow rate to 15, and attach the delivery device. Can you do all that in under 15 seconds? And I have found that the people that are trying to move fast never make it the time. The people that just do those steps one by one are more likely to make that time or get a lot closer.
Right.
Because I've seen some people take 30 plus seconds on it and just trying to go fast. But people that have gone slow, even if they didn't make that time, were like a second or two off.
Right. And
This is
what's your record on that? I thought I remember it's like really small.
Mine
right?
mine
5
was hang on, I want to make sure. It was 6.99.
Okay. And
So
and yours is,
everything starts on the ground. Yeah.
and that is super fast, but how many times do you think you've assembled that in your life?
Oh yeah, a bunch. And that was, I mean,
Probably
everyone
millions.
was trying to race me because my time is usually 8 to 10 seconds on average. Like I'm not always hitting these like 7-second times.
Right.
But I was just on point that day. And it was also like my 6th, 7th one of that day. So I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm racing with somebody, which adds good level of competitiveness too.
Right.
And yeah, I hit 6.99 on it. But yeah, 8 to 10 seconds on average just by, regulator on, tying it up. I'm not concerned about it. So, although I think I did what was really unfortunate. I need to get back on my A game. I tried to do it the last LGI course and it was like 15. I was like, oof. But the next one I got 8. So I was fine. Just a little rusty.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, this is the idea. Use it as you may, but it's just such a good skill to have. And tying it into the fundamentals, bring this into your fundamentals and really push. Don't just be accepting of being decent at the fundamentals. Try to master these fundamentals, then start working on the fancy stuff. I think this is where a lot of people get caught up. They want to do the fancy stuff. The fancy stuff is fun. 100% agree. Fancy stuff could get you an easy win. Could get you the viral reel, right? Could get you all these things. But if you don't have good fundamentals, then you're never going to you may get lucky and get that viral reel, but you're only going to get one. And the great players do this over and over and over again. And that I think is the big thing. Great people do these things over and over again. How are they able to do that? With the fundamentals. So fundamentals are key. Don't forget about them and don't push them off to the side once you're good at them. Always go back to them. I think you'll be super successful. I think we got 2 topics really covered. And then Fast and Furious is a great franchise to watch. That and T-Rex, whatever the T-Rex.
Yeah. Hold on. What was it called? Tammy and the T-Rex?
Tammy and the T-Rex with Paul Walker and Denise Richards.
Just in case you are wondering, like, is this the one? Yes, this is it.
Yes.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
That's so good, dude.
Look at that CGI, man. That's
told
probably
you,
not
it's-
even CGI. This is animatronic, right?
I think that's an actual mask, but there is a point where he transitions to a T-Rex and it's literally like transparency chain overlay. So it's like
It's like
semi-transparent
PowerPoint, yeah.
dinosaur, kind of transparent, not really transparent dinosaur. It's super good.
Funny. What were the
Highly-
books called like that? There were books
Oh, I
about
have no idea.
Animorphs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was an Animorphs transition. That's exactly what it was.
Okay.
Dude, that's a great series. We'll have to hype that up. We're thinking about doing a book club series. Maybe that's what we'll do. Go
Yeah,
back to
of
all these
course.
like basic books that we used to read. Oh, that's funny.
We'll do like
God, well,
Animorphs and then like the Count of Monte Cristo or something very
mhm. I used to read.
juxtaposing.
It was like this kid spy. I think they're actually making an Amazon series on it. Um.
Spy Kids?
Oh, I don't even know. No, it wasn't Spy Kids. It had a.
It was a book?
It was a book, and it was like this one. Alex Rider. There we go. Alex Rider. Super cool series, but basically, this kid Alex was raised kind of by his uncle, and his uncle was a spy. So his uncle trained him to do all these like super random things. And it was basically just like I'm training you to be a spy without like you going to spy school. And then his uncle dies in like the first like few pages of the book. It's nothing crazy. And so then the spy agency tries to recruit him. And then it has lots of plot twists and things like that. It was always really cool. I always wanted to be Alex Rider, be a spy, kid spy, teen spy. The books were actually pretty good. I mean, I don't know about how well they were written, but the plot itself
Yeah.
was pretty good.
You're like, dude, when I read it back in, 7th grade, it
Yeah,
was awesome.
I always feel like it's for ages 9+, so take it for what it is. But it was like
Rose,
I said, plot wise was really good. I mean, he goes dark. He gets like almost bad at one point. I mean, it's pretty cool. Highly recommend for the youngsters out there. Anyways, so let's wrap it up. This was uh good, great week, like I said, and just have almost at a loss of words for how cool this week has been. And it's all thanks to you guys. So massive appreciation, massive love. The next goals that we're going for, I want to set up the goals, is 250 downloads. So basically, we're double what we're at right now. We're at 125 downloads, so 250 downloads. And I want the same for followers. Our Instagram has 125, so 250 followers. I think that's just great. And the big way that we're going to do this is through the giveaway. So once again, we got this beautiful cup, right? And Tanner and I want to give away this amazing cup to one of you lucky humans. And the rules that are going to apply for you to do that are, and of course, my thing isn't up to have the rules out.
we'll edit this out. No, we actually won't.
Yeah, don't even worry about it, guys. It's all fake. Not even here.
Everything fake. Yeah, fake story, fake everything.
So, all right. So Tanner and I are wanting to give this bottle away as a huge thank you for reaching 100 downloads. So our goal really is, the next milestone is 250 downloads. And on top of that, we want to get 250 followers. So we're literally at it. We were doubling. We're at exactly 125 downloads right now. And we are at 125 followers. I want to get to 250. And we got some rules to basically make this happen. So the winner, it's going to be basically a raffle system, and winner takes all. So to increase your number of entries, there's multiple things that you can do. We're obviously really trying to push YouTube. And so if you subscribe to YouTube, you will get 5 entries right off the bat. So you just subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the same as everything else. Handle is a bigbeartheory.podcast. All you have to do is subscribe. If you want an extra 5 entries, just take a screenshot of that, tag us in it, and that gives you and share it on your story. That'll give you an extra 5. No problems. If you comment on our videos, any of the videos on YouTube, one comment will give you 1 entry, and you can do that for 5 comments. It's basically so that you're not putting the alphabet on the comments. Like, I actually want genuine comments. Anything that's not an actual comment won't get graded. So you can't just put like a period and then be on with it. Like, what did you like? What do you want? Was it cool? Was it not? Those types of deals. And then for the Instagram, if you follow us, you get 5 entries. If you tag us in your story, kind of like I said, you'll get 5 entries. And then this is where the big points are going to come from, right? So you have unlimited tags. You must tag a friend of yours, right? If you tag at least 10 people, we'll double every point you've accumulated. Whether it's from YouTube, whatever it's from, we'll double everything. And then if you tag 15 plus people, we will triple all of your points.
Nice.
So a real easy way to just incredibly boost your chances. And that is unlimited. So if you want to tag 100 people on the like whatever, at it. So that is unlimited. Tag anybody and everybody, trying to get the follows, try and get some subscribers, things like this. This will, like I said, when we can get our followers and our numbers up, it allows us to basically work with other companies to provide discount codes. This is what we keep saying, like, it's coming, it's coming. This is pretty much why we're getting shot down. We just don't have a big enough following yet. We don't have enough views of things going on. So this will help us, but also gives you a chance for a cool water bottle. So this is Bison Coolers. They custom made this for me. They're super, super awesome people. They were super nice to do this for me because they weren't, it was out of their realm. I was supposed to have to buy 12 of these. And I told them I couldn't afford that. I was just trying to help say thanks to the community. And he ends up looking us up, really liked what we were about. They are local in North Richland Hills, and we're up here in the Dallas area. So they said to help us out. They allowed me to get at least one bottle. And so we're going to share that to anybody and everybody. And one lucky person will get that. The event will start on February 19th. This video right here is going to be clipped out and put in, but for today. But then when you hear this, obviously you'll hear it again, and it's going to end on Friday, March 1st at midnight. So that's the last chance to get your things in. So we'll send reminders out. We'll send it on Instagram. We'll add it to our stories and things like that, and we'll get all this squared away. But yeah, March 1st, and then on March 4th is when Tanner and I will announce on social media who gets the bottle. And if it needs to be mailed, we'll mail it to you free of charge. You don't have to worry about that. If you're local, we'll meet up and get it to you. But that's it. That's the giveaway. It's a really, really great water bottle. I really did contemplate just keeping it. But that's not fair.
I might go do all these like stipulations to win the giveaway.
You can just use the personal Instagram to get about it. So, but a huge thank you to all of you. This is really more of a thank you to you guys. But I would really love to partner with Bison Coolers on this. Maybe even start a hashtag that says "Let Big Bear Theory be a partner for Bison Coolers," whatever that hashtag may be. But push on it any way that you can, because you never know what could happen. Who knows who to make things happen. Actually, a slight tangent, but apparently, Tanner, we have an employee whose dad's boss is Mark Zuckerberg.
Really?
And not only is that like our highest amped reel right now, I mean, thousands of views and over 100 likes already. So it has 100 more likes on average than most of our other posts.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that person's dad knows Mark Zuckerberg. So they might be setting something up. We'll see. I don't know. But I have to, so my instructor, he saw the clip, right? Where I was like, I don't know if I'll beat him, right? Humility. Trying to take the nice route. Because literally on the wall of my jiu-jitsu school, it says like, let your ego go and humility, right? Like it's on the wall. And he goes, you're telling me you don't think you can beat Mark Zuckerberg? And like punished me the entire course, like destroy, like he literally like put me a mount and like just smashed my face and I couldn't breathe. And he's like, I'm Mark Zuckerberg, I'm crushing you. Wow. And like all these things, like, so
dude, that's hilarious.
Mark, this one's for you. I will beat Mark Zuckerberg if we go out there and he allows me to roll with him. So sorry that I took the humility route.
Man, the child.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you could beat.
I can hold
Be
my own.
surprised. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised. I tell you what, we'll just do some privates. We'll get you
Okay.
situated. I teach now, right? You know, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I keep saying I'm the world's best instructor. So
Okay.
great stuff. Yeah, I'll get you there. You'll be Mark Zuckerberg at this point. But yeah, so I thought it was a funny story and a crazy like, and again, just shows you don't know who knows who until
Yeah.
you start
It's a good
doing this. So
callback
we are
too. That's
just
like one of our first
encouraging.
episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the second one that we
Second one.
posted.
Yeah.
So it's super
Nice.
cool. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And who we are partnered with is, of course, Mad Rabbit. And I mean, heck, it's going to be like 80 degrees here in a little bit.
Mhm.
So they have a sunscreen. I think it's going to be the big push that I'd recommend. I still love the balm. Maybe get the body wash. Lotion's great, but whatever you want to get, I highly recommend it. Our code is BEAR, BEAR 2024. And just use that up. Gives you a 20% discount. It's bigger than any discount. Like they were literally doing 20% discounts for President's Day. And like you get yours, you get it all the time. Use it every day, use it however much you want. It's a limitless code.
Coupon
Always
code,
get
yeah.
20% off. They do subscriptions, which I like too. So I love Mad Rabbit. They're a great group of people. Like if you see their Instagram, they're super chill. Can't recommend them enough. Other than that, that's really all we got as far as the in barefoot world. We're going through our second LGI course right now. That's almost finished up, and then we have 2 more sessions in DFW, and then 1 more session in Houston. That Houston session is going to be spring break. The DFW session, the next one's right after this one, so starts like March something,
Cool.
March 3rd. Thank y'all very much. Love y'all. Appreciate you. Hearts have
Love you
been
guys.
sent. Let's see the follows and the comments and the subscribes go up tremendously.
Yeah.
And let's give away that bad boy. Love y'all.
Love you
Have a
guys.
good one.